Labor Day, the Democrats, and America's favorite twit, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Well, it's Labor Day, and of course that means that the Democrats, who used to champion themselves as the party of the working class, you know, the blue-collar, on the assembly line guy, the Rust Belt, manufacturing in America, that was their party, the Democrats. Why, they were the champion of the little guy. Now, they're the champion of every other guy, and particularly partial to those who aren't even actual American citizens who are trying to crash our borders, get here illegally, and then be given everything free, all on the back of the working class that they claim to be championing rights for them. They claim to be championing lower taxes for them, when what they're really doing is burying them alive in endless regulation and a tax burden that their great-great-great-great-grandchildren won't be able to pay off. Now there's a plan. So as I was musing means to think. And that seems to be now the opposite of what many people in our country do. They want to be amused. Amuse is the absence of thinking, the absence of contemplating. Amuse me. Entertain me. Don't make me think too hard. Don't make me process information. I just want to have fun. And of course, liberals love that, because non-thinking people are far more easier to control. Thus, liberals love Hollywood. They love the entertainment industry. It's why they are willing to put millions and billions of dollars into things like Netflix to amuse the masses, entertain the sheep as they're being led to the proverbial slaughter. But thinking Americans, people who actually can contemplate, reason, look at things and say, hey, wait a minute. Somebody is going to have to flip the bill for all of this. The Democrats are out there right now running for the nomination within their party to be the one to go up against Donald Trump, the guy that they feel is the most evil, viral individual to ever exist, even making Adolf Hitler look like a Sunday school teacher. And they're thinking that the non-thinking population within our country will vote for that, because after all, they've been educated through amusement. And the party that at one time were the champions of the working class are now the champions of no class. Now you would think on this Labor Day weekend that the Democrats would be crisscrossing the country, in particular giving their attention and their focus to the Rust Belt, the place they lost badly to Donald Trump. After all, especially Uncle Joe Biden said the reason that the Democrats lost the 2016 election is they forgot the forgotten man. They placated way too much to special interest, and in the end, that hurt them. After all, Hillary didn't even bother to really campaign in the Rust Belt. She didn't need to. That was a Democratic stronghold. They will just show up and vote because they're supposed to. And what happened? They turned up and voted for the guy that was going to fix the economy. And yet, the Democratic presidential candidates not only are not crisscrossing the Rust Belt, not doing anything to win back the working class vote, but listen to their rhetoric, listen to their campaigning, listen to their ideas, and you realize they are all in on a far-left, libloon free-for-all. Now, they seem to take their marching orders from AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, think about it. Think about how many people running for the Democratic nomination right now. People like Corey Grabbing Boys in the Men's Room Booker, Pete Buttigieg, Beto O'Rourke, the phony Latino. Think about all these people. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and even Uncle Joe Biden himself. And think how they have bowed to, responded to, and adopted the ideologies and the policies of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, case in point, that proves not only is she the face of the Democratic Party, but she is certainly not in line with the whole Democratic mantra of we're for the working class, we're for the middle class, we're for the common man. Remember, it was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez who killed the opportunity for Amazon to come into New York and bring with it 40,000 jobs. She killed it. Absolutely annihilated it. Now, I have a reason why I believe she did that. She was voted into Congress through a very small district. A small group of people within that district actually voted. I think she only got, 1,200 votes? 1,500 votes? It was a minuscule number of votes when you think about it on a national level. Yet those few votes put her in Congress, gave her a place of power and authority, and we get to pay her salary for the rest of her life, even after she retires. So of course she wanted to kill Amazon coming into New York. That would have meant 40,000 more constituents who wouldn't have voted for her. She killed it for herself, not because she has some rib rock staunch conviction against a business like Amazon for the people's rights. Probably everything in her apartment she ordered through Amazon.com. Now, this was personal for her, but she plays it up. Then, of course, the Green New Deal. And remember, she's declared all-out war on fossil fuel. She would kill completely the airline industry. And, of course, farting cows are just, we can't have that anymore. If the Democrats who are now running as green energy, Green New Deal, we've got to stop fossil fuel, we've got to stop all of this carbon footprint and polluting the planet, we're killing the planet. If any of this stuff ever gets enacted, how many millions of people will be put out of work? Does that sound like a message for Labor Day? Consider Uncle Joe Biden. Biden has stated, when he can remember, and when he can string together a coherent thought, and he's not suffering from onstage dementia and Alzheimer's, which I really do believe he is showing significant signs of, Biden has said that he will ban all offshore oil and natural gas exploration and drilling. Well, Alaska can kiss their economy goodbye. He has said that he would ban all oil and natural gas being drilled and pumped from all public land. Well, New Mexico, Colorado, kiss your economy goodbye. Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren. She said that she would ban all fracking. Hey, Pennsylvania, I know Ed Rendell, one-time DNC chair, but still talks like a political boss, goes on CNN and PMSNBC and talks about how this time around Pennsylvania will not vote for Donald Trump. Well, remember, they're all, Uncle Joe, Aunt Elizabeth, Crazy Bernie, they're all adopting this no fracking. They will, by executive order, outlaw it on day one. Kiss 500,000 jobs goodbye, Pennsylvania. There's a winning strategy for the working vote. Then you have Bernie Sanders out there saying that he will ban coal. Just outright, we're going to ban it. We're not going to mine for it. we're killing coal miners, and those retards in West Virginia and Pennsylvania that do coal mining, they're just gonna have to go back to like community college and get another career, another job. That's my position on it. We're just gonna ban coal. You know what? It's amazing that Bernie Sanders never gets pressed by anyone in the media how he would actually pay for all of his half-wit ideas. But let's take the banning of coal for a moment. Because he said there is far more responsible and cleaner energy out there that we could be using, like wind. Okay, consider this. First of all, you gotta put up all these windmills that most communities, especially liberal communities, vote against. Well, after all, they kill birds, and they're not pretty to look at. I don't want to look out my window and see a windmill, a wind turbine. But let's say he gets this passed. Coal mining is outlawed. Gonna build windmills. Where's the steel that you build windmills out of, as well as build factories, as well as build cars, etc.? Where's the steel gonna come from? It isn't like there are these things that we cut down called steel trees. Steel comes from coal. And by the way, you gotta anchor these things into the ground using concrete and steel. $16 trillion eco-friendly plan that Bernie Sanders is proposing. Yet, he never explains how it's going to be paid for, other than, we're going to tax the rich. Okay, let's do away with that little myth right now. One of the things that rich people do well is through tax shelters, through disbursement and diversity of their accounting, they can shelter and protect their money. So any of these new regulations, any of these new taxes, always get passed on to the working class, the middle class. They pay for it in lost wages. They pay for it in smaller paychecks due to taxes. They pay for it in going to the store and paying more for everything because it gets taxed higher. So the Democrats are not the friend of the working class. They're public enemy number one. The Green New Deal, it's estimated within its first couple of years of implementation, would take a toll on over 2 million workers. Because you could kiss goodbye the entire oil and natural gas industry. And those industries, those evil big corporation industries, employ people. Beto the fake Latino, why he does videos changing a tire. Cooking. Has anybody explained to Beto that tires use oil to make the rubber? Has anybody explained to Beto, as he's cooking his hamburger on video, the little flame cooking the meat? That's natural gas. Oh, by the way, even the camera and the iPhone that he uses to produce all of that, it's plastic. Comes from oil. And see, all of these insane ideas are not only anti-good economy, anti-good economics, it's anti-working class. What a great message from the Democrats. Brought to you by AOC.
Even while I was on vacation, I woke up in the middle of the night at 3:30 in the morning, just concerned about climate change. I'm 29 years old. I really struggle sometimes with the idea of how to be a policymaker and potentially have a family in the time of climate change. And it really freaks me out, and it can be really, really scary.
Wow, really? Climate change wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning? But it's scary. It's so scary. Now, let me tell you what scary is. The fact that you got elected to Congress and the rest of us have to deal with the insane ideas and potential legislation that you keep concocting and that wild imagination of yours.
There are a lot of diseases that are frozen in some of these glaciers, that scientists fear that there's a potential that a lot of diseases could escape these melted glaciers, things that were frozen for thousands of years, and that they're going to get into our water and that humans could contract them, and they are going to be diseases that are thousands of years old, that have vectors that we are not prepared for, that we have never seen.
Okay, now I got to admit, that's a new one on me. I didn't realize that the climate change community was selling people on the fear that trapped within inside these glaciers that have been frozen for tens of thousands of years, there are diseases that as the polar cap melts, these diseases will be released into the atmosphere. Tsetse flies will carry them all the way to places like Bismarck, North Dakota. And we will have diseases we do not know how to cure. And of course, AOC and her generation goes, oh no. See, this is a generation that when they were little kids and watched movies like Brendan Fraser's The Mummy series, thought, oh my God, this is like science. You know, they go on Netflix and they watch Inglourious Bastards or Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer and thinks that's actual history. And now they sit in Congress and they make laws for the rest of us. That's what's scary.
So we need to bite the bullet on the cost, because the alternative to not spending the money is A, death, and B, spending even more money.
So let me see if I've got this one straight in my head. The young, apparently disturbed woman who wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning after having nightmares of 1,000-year-old diseases being released in our atmosphere over the polar ice caps melting, and thinks that movies like Inglourious Bastards is obviously real history. We're gonna just take her at her word that we're just gonna have to bite the bullet. I don't care if it costs $100 trillion quadrillion. We have to do this because the coastline is gonna totally sink into the ocean, and Midwest America is gonna have a drought, and the sun is gonna scorch the earth so bad we'll never be able to grow food again. We'll have to manufacture food. This is the woman you Democrats are hanging your hat with to sell to the working class on Labor Day. Hey, these are some great ideas. We need to give this brain trust AOC, we need to give her a fair hearing. And you're going to have to do better than sending Nancy Botox Pelosi out there, you know, to do her, you know, I will say she does not represent the party. She just doesn't represent the party. Remember how well Nancy did in 2016? Well, Donald Trump, you can mark it down. You can mark it down. He will never be president. He will never be president. AOC doesn't follow the lead of Nancy Botox Pelosi or Chuck E. Cheese Schumer. And yet, this is the woman you're going to let lead you and say, bite the bullet. We're doing this anyway.
I think about the kind of family that I want to plan, and I've already known my entire life that one day I'd love to adopt children. But even now, when you put climate change on top of that, I know that I want to, perhaps have one less child than I thought I would maybe have, if I can even have a child biologically. I don't know. I haven't tried. I think having a mixed family is part of my personal planning. But it's really hard, and I don't think sometimes that older generations really understand how much we're taking this into account for our future, how scary it can be.
Well, Alexandria, I've got to tell you, you finally said something that most of us conservatives and patriots can absolutely 100% agree with you on. Under no circumstances ever should you be allowed to procreate and breed. That would be dangerous for the rest of us because we are tired of having to fund, finance, deal with, put up with the crazy, asinine, ludicrous rules, regulations, and policies that you, your ilk, and your generation keeps dreaming up. That's what we're frightened by. You go ahead and do all your family planning you want to do. Plan this kind of a family for you and yours. Don't have one. Well, that's my rant for this Labor Day. The extinction of the Democratic Party thanks to far-left libloon ideology. It's a win-win for the rest of us. Hope it doesn't take too long. That being said, give us a thumbs up and a like for this video. Spread it everywhere. Help us get the word out. Let's get the subscriptions up. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much. Thank you to all of our new subscribers. Hope you enjoy the channel. And remember, smack the bell for my next rant.